Hello all, Dr. Fox here with you. Ugh, humans. I'm kidding. We'll get into this. It's real talk about indie dev. It's stuff I think that others will really appreciate. Others that already know it will get some feedback about it. Well, let's get into this. But before we do, I have a little surprise for y'all. All right, yes, by the way, if you wonder why I'm all dressed this way, it's cold in here. I'm doing my damnedest. All right, here we go. See if I can turn it around and show you. There's Miss Cuddums. I don't know if you got to see her. She's all cuddled under the blankies there. So yeah, a little in-depth of really what's going on around here. Oh gosh, where did we go here? Week 4 brought some tough lessons about online trolls, scammers, negativity. I mean, look, I've seen it since 2004. When I started doing social media, and trust me, there are times when I just want to like throw it away. I know a lot of indie devs get exhausted from it, give up. We just got to remember our strong tools. I'll talk about that in a bit. We did have some big wins this week, though. We're going to talk about those. This is a real side of indie dev that just nobody wants to warn you about, And yes, we know about the long haul that was warned to me. And like I said, I had a chance to work with a dev way back during the TRS-80 color computer days, way back then. And, it wasn't really about conversations about trolls, but he definitely talked about like scamming type stuff back then before all that stuff really existed. So yeah, let's get into this. So we got some big news first. Motor Madness is live. Say early access. We got that out last week with a lot of negativity, and I'm like, oh, do people forget that why we put it on incremental game or on Reddit? Excuse me. We just did incremental games today. I'll get into that later. I think we put it up on webgames, and I'm always scrolling through there. I put some thumbs up. I'm like, oh, cool game, cool art. Things like that. I'm like, why do we have... Oh, look, I'm not going to bring a lot of attention to it because that's what they want. They're looking for us to get frustrated. They want the attention. They're angry. They're upset. Look, I'm angry, upset too, but I'm not going to take it out. I'm going to be proactive and productive. I'm not going to go out and steal somebody's identity. We'll get into that other information later as well. But there's also some other great excitement. Woo! We're on the road to Steam developing. Yahoo! Well, I dug deep, and I can hear it now. Like, why did you spend $100 on Steam developing if you're over here cold? No, I actually have both of my heaters on. I actually have to put a third wall one on sometimes because it's that drafty, and and then I can hear it now. Why didn't you spend $100 on lumber to like seal up your trim better or some caulking? I have all that. I can't do it. We have a project. I'm not going to sway from all that because I can hear the attitude coming in from that kind of conversation. But with that aside, let's just try to focus on the excitement, because sometimes you want to get excited and then someone wants to quickly just tear you down and just give you attitude about it. They don't want you to be successful. They want you to be miserable like they are. They don't want you to succeed. And it's just, this is the real stuff out there. And in the meantime, we're in a cold, drafty place. I'm doing my damnedest. When you're handicapped and disabled and struggling with a lot of physicalities that make it really struggling for you, and you've served your country and you don't deserve to have people treat you like garbage. Not that we're expecting people, like, I don't know. There's a contradiction to all of it. No matter what you say, someone's going to have an issue with it. And I'm sorry, some other trolls that if any of them have actually found my Vblog, they're probably like, tee hee hee hee, oh good, we're upsetting it. Look, it's not bothering. I don't give a crap. Just leave it the hell alone and move on and go do something else, God, but we're really excited about that. We're working on Google Play submissions. I had to start a new email. We never heard from them for months. I was trying to give them at least 6 or 8 weeks. And sadly, we kept fighting, and I just got attitude reaching out to developers on X. And I don't even like to use that format. It's really just like to post a few updates over there and be like, hey, this is what's going on. Let people know, like, if we went live, maybe someday with Lunar. We'll talk about that later as well. All 3 games now at least have some animated intros up on YouTube if you guys haven't checked those out yet. By all means, check them on this. We've put them in the little playlist too. You can just hit play, be like, oh no, those are cute. Those are cute. You know, we for those that wonder, I think we use Sora to create those. I took a still image that we created with, was it Canva? Wait, I didn't use Nano Banana. I know that. Sorry, I have all my notes, but I'm like, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. Usually I got all my bullet points over here, and I was trying to remember a couple of those details, but I don't know, it's just the real side of the indie dev that no one really wants to warn you about, you know. But we're all excited. We got those up there. Some stats for this week: we had WebGames 742 from Mora's Motor Madness. We just posted on Incremental Games. We'll see how that one goes. My luck, I'll get another nasty comment like last, what was it, a couple weeks ago on Incremental Games when we put fishing up. Some smart butt puts, this isn't an incremental game. I'm like, oh my God. I'm not going to bring attention to specific comments, but like, oh my God, what's wrong with you all? Aside from, I want to put out a huge shout out though to Pi. Thank you, Pi. Don't worry, hang in there. I didn't forget about, we'll get into the upgrade later. We also upgraded Claude as well, so we're very, very excited to start using that. Yes, I know it's only 5 times more. I should just use like 2 or 3 emails, free versions, and just keep trying to plug away organically, you know, whenever we get it done. So those were our 2 big financial humps this week. We really found that Claude's helping me out, especially with my fibromyalgia, my arthritis, my other disabilities, and my physicalities that I struggle with over here, and a lot of other reasons. And I know, so I can hear some in the background just like using the forehead thing. That's not a real disease, or this one, and they don't understand what's like. You got to put their brain in ours for a little while so you can feel all the pain and anguish and the joint trouble and all these other troubles that go with all this struggle as well. And remember, the proceeds are just to help us upgrade these tools for our Patreon over there on Cat and Fox. All that stuff's in the description if you want to check it out. We're trying to do that. We just have a lot to get into. Let me see, indie gaming, 1.1k views. I still go around and check out, like I said, I'm gamer at heart. I still check out Reddit. I'm like, ooh, thumbs up. Oh, that one's cool. That's got cool art, you know, something like that. Like, I don't go in there and go, attitude. Like, my God, look, I'm all for creative feedback, but not negative attitude, pissy feedback. And then I'm like, oh, and I can hear him now. Hee. All right, here we go, you know. They're going to go over and put really nasty crap over there. All right, you know. Oh, now I know which one, you know, she's on. We're going to go over and spam her nasty now, you know. I can see it now. I'm like, can you just move on and bug somebody else? Like, my God. I don't sit there. I don't spam. Even, what's so funny is before you post on Reddit, it even says it too. It says, you know, like, it has little headlines about don't spam, basically. But then you hit it. And then it says, would you like to spam it elsewhere? I'm like, no, I wait like 2 or 3 days. I'm not someone who puts it up. We'll get into the numbers. We'll finish this up. Sorry, straight off here. Incremental Games, 4.3k views for the fishing game. Web Games, 637 views as of this recording. Cat Scratch on our old the Jennifer. I think I'll try to put that on one of these 3 third ones. Maybe you guys have a better suggestion, because I've done Web Games and Incremental. I get a lot of sass with some of those responses. Don't get me wrong, I really appreciate the good ones we actually get. You know, like individuals like Pi and some others. And you should go check out his channel. He's not paying me to say that. I'm just like when you get good artists out there, and I gotta go check out Discord. I'm so sorry, Pi. It's been so crazy of a week. If you put up any fan art for us, a digital fan art, I will go check it out if it's there too. So just a shout out to you. No, that's what I'm seeing. I could be saying some nice stuff if the other comments were a little, like, I'm not expecting like everything to be really nice. Like, you know, you don't have to like pretend like, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. All right, Cat Scratch Incremental, 6k plus views. Web Games, 850 plus views. I hope I get to a point where we're like on just 3 different Reddits, because eventually we're going to just try to grow organically. There was my first reach out in like a chat. sadly though, I didn't click on any links, and somebody else put you with a little blue link inside of it. I didn't clickbait it. I didn't trust that. I don't know if they're trying to figure out who I am, or they're like, oh, I'm gonna come over there and troll them for a ha until they do the thing on South Park so that the woman like kills herself or something. I'm not gonna do that. Like, I just want to move on and work on my games. Like, you know, it's sort of like ridiculous. It's insanity. But I got a chat that opened up. I checked the user, and I don't know if you all want to get your feedback on that or how you feel about it. They were like kind of asking for some money already, and I know it'll organically grow when we get involved in Steam and things like that. And I know there's a lot of other troubles. You know, share your thoughts about that, those kind of parts as well, how you're feeling about that. So at least we're organically still growing a little each week. Like, I don't really care about that. I'm just putting out good quality games that okay, I guess I can scratch the word quality, right? I'm kidding. Just some fun little entertaining games that we've been wanting to create. Remember, all the proceeds, all they do is go to the animal shelter where Mora came from. Why we do this. I'm not making money off of her. I don't make anything. I'm on a really strict budget. I work with free tools. I try to share my experiences without all the negativity and attitude. It'd be nice to have a good community where you have some decent support instead of all this trolling and pissiness and all this irritability. I mean, look, okay, I know the world sucks butt right now, okay? I want to encourage, that's why we started this channel, as I've said many times, for those that kind of skip over this part or miss it or don't really pay attention or want to focus on one other types of wording that comes out that they skip over, or heck, put me on 1.25. That's what I do with a lot of videos, just because I'm time restrained. I know I chit chat for a bit. I know I've got a lot to cover today, so it'll be a bit longer of a video today, but it's just a lot of things I feel we really have to talk about, you know, scammers, trolls. Just, you know, you get approached by somebody offering promotional services, make sure to do your research. Likely a scam. You know, happy to grow organically instead. Just, you know, trust your gut. Don't click suspicious links. I know a lot of this is default information. A lot of you already know all that. Just for those, maybe that it might help. You know, when we get negative comments, I'm not going to give them attention too much. I mean, I want to be able to talk about this stuff freely about it. But, you know, when you get comments on Motor Madness, like I mentioned earlier, you know, it's early access, you know, when they say terrible things, you know, like they think that I'm AI, and I'm like, no, this is how I write. Like, yes, I get suggestions from Claude, and someone go, oh, come on, Dr. Fox, Claude will write the whole thing for you. Yes, I know. But I'll pull out pieces I like. I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty good. And then I put my heart into it. And I literally do write, I'd say about, I mean, it inspires me. It's a tool that helps me inspire so I can bounce off. I don't have money to sit with somebody for thousands of dollars or wait, you know, weeks. And I always try to check out the comments. But sometimes they might come in later, and it's nice to bounce off some ideas, you know, with individuals. I like to use it as a tool. It helps me with my disabilities and my struggle. I don't like that word, disabilities, but with my struggles, I like to be able to do that. And it just works for me. And if it doesn't work for you, don't use the tool, but don't go around and berate others that are using the tool. I mean, you got to berate someone who needs to use a hammer for construction or a power drill instead of trying to do it the old-fashioned way with a screw. I mean, think about how much more money it's going to cost you. But I guess I can't really use that example because everyone always has a negative comment across no matter what you say, because they'll contradict it. But it's just that kind of negative stuff, you know. They don't understand early access test phase, what that truly means. We're really going to Reddit for a test phase before we shoot it out to our Steam. Steam is another whole conversation and another whole hill that we have to work our way up slowly to, and I'm trying to plug away at that. You know, taking out my pickaxe and then getting the what is it, the power grappling gun, you know, to slowly pull me. Claude's kind of one of those tools helping me try to climb that a little bit, you know, but I don't sit there and spam like so many other does. I'm not, you know, jaded because my game didn't last, or maybe someone made a similar one that had similar gameplay and they were pissed that they think I just made another clone of something. Like, this is not, you don't do this to artists. Like, when artists put up art in museums or in a gallery, you don't go in and bash them and go, ugh. You know, I mean, granted, I know that some will say that you do. You know, take constructive criticism within reason. For instance, Pi's feedback, you know, ignore mean-spirited trolling, or just remember things like haters don't pay your bills. They don't. Focus on the players who actually engage positively. You know, remember to use things like, this is what I was getting at earlier. You want to try to maybe try some Kata, or some meditation, self-care. Just always remember to try to take a little time to stay mentally strong. And like yesterday, National Plan Your Vacation Day, we do little comedy skits with Mora on the side. I think some of those are up on our TikTok. I know, shameless plug, right? Just kidding. We try to bring humor to, because being a retired military doctor, I try to share some things like that. And then my character comes in and kind of contradicts, you know, a little bit of behind the scenes of how that kind of works. But then you get your irony, as some people say, you know, then hire real dev, you know, and AI is cheating. Like, it's not, like I was saying earlier, you know, damn if you do, damn if you don't. Just keep creating anyway. And that's the power of what pulls you forward, unless some horrible human being wants to try to berate you by trying to make you either kill yourself or go and get you killed from sending, you know, some horrible people here to try to take you away from you functioning, to allow you to do that, or jump in and like try to steal your identity and information, steal your money, take everything away. It's all horrible, gross, disgusting beings that exist that do that, and I wish that they just stop. But I mean, what are you supposed to do? Like I said, it's contradicting, you know. That mental health, the burnout, you know, exhaustion is totally real. Managing all the health issues I talked about, working on free limited tools, dealing with the negativity while trying to create, balancing, you know, 3 games, working on the Lunar AI, the Twitch bot, Vblogs, the one I talked about, the little comedy skits, the short 1 minute, because I get a clone I use on the free account. And for those that wonder, I use Hey Gen for that. It gives you 3 minutes a month. So what I do is a 1 second talk about AI and robotics. So excuse me, so it kind of frees it up a little bit. I think that's really a neat little tool. Some will say it's cheating, blah blah blah. Like, they don't understand of what the microwaves and the radiation given off from electronics over periods of time are, and then they'll go, oh, that's a big flop of blah blah. And I'm like, there's enough medical evidence to back it up, but okay, go ahead, contradict me, you know, hate me. Leave, don't come around here if this is really bothering you. It's not supposed to be a place, it's supposed to be a place we can come and talk about indie dev and like the real, like we're getting into the real stuff here, you know. Community support, Discord members, you know, positive feedback, remembering, you know, why you started this journey, taking breaks when you need to, celebrating, you know, the small ones, hey, you know, kind of that excitement there, being transparent about struggles, you know, other devs watching, you know, it's okay to struggle, and I accept that, you know, it's okay to use AI tools, even though some make you feel like you're not allowed to use those tools, you know. It's just think about when the industries changed, you know, 100 years ago, like they were frowned upon for trying to use a different type of tool that made everyday life without people sassing about it. You give it a few years, maybe it won't be quite so sassing about it. And I know we're going to lose all jobs, but it just means that now the industry is converting, so now you can sort of be the repair person. Even if you hate repairing, you know, you could be this other individual or do this other thing that helps, you know. And maybe, God forbid, it takes a little bit of your time from what you're working on to allow you to have a little more time. And I get it. Like, some are so lonely and miserable. They're like, I don't want that extra time to be thinking about how miserable I am or how bad I feel like I look. Like, it has nothing to do with looks or anything like that, but this is what happens when we're with our own psyche. You know, it's okay to go slow. It's okay to go at your own pace, within reason. Sometimes you're really strapped financially and you're like, but again, I'm not doing this like, it's more like a hobby. I'm not trying to do this like professionally, but I'm allowed to use that name. God forbid I'm allowed to not use it. Like, I'm, from like my first post, you might want to be careful about using the word indie dev. I'm like, oh God, seriously, that again? Like, God, I already had enough of that from somebody in my family that said something like that. I'm like, ugh. I try to limit my conversations with those individuals anyway, but sometimes it's difficult. The limitations just make you less legitimate in those fields. Techs and tools updates, as I talked about, things I was so excited. We converted gameplay videos to WebM format, like I was going to mention earlier, that we talk about creative web files for game downloads, working on Luna AI improvements. That's sort of my side project as well. But don't worry, I'm still trying to work on these tweaks, but we had to wait till Claude got upgraded today. And then now that I have the longer conversations, because a lot of those conversations, yes, you can start a new conversation, and it's hard to pull out the summary because you can't go back and ask if they're frozen. You have no more conversations. You can't say, can you give me a summary of what we talked about? And then you can't really cut and paste all of it, because sometimes it only lets you like cut and paste like little segments, and you're sitting there cutting and pasting, or you're like trying to spend time reading all over it. It's like, oh my gosh. Or like scan this whole conversation, give me I'm sure there's tools out there that make this a lot easier than we're making it, but created zip files for the downloads, working on, like I said, I put the investment in Steam and Claude, this month. We're going to kind of see, at least now I can kind of get a better idea about how, I know there's plenty of videos about pros and cons of like Claude Pro versus this one. Yes, I know Claude. Oh, what's that one out now called? Like Clawbot or something. And I know there's a lot of controversy on it when those things come out. It's like really pricey. Uses a lot of tokens if you're very active in it. Trying to connect to a lot of other programs and activities to use those. About how it can kind of there's a big security risks about that kind of stuff. But when you're using Claude AI for coding and help, assistance, free tools whenever possible, learning as I go. I use, like when I make my thumbnails, I use the free Canva. I know there's still a thumbnail on it, or a watermark, excuse me. But, cool tech to watch out for. I heard about Gemini's new AI system where it can generate 3D worlds, put your character in it, like first person or third person. And it's kind of neat. It's just interesting to kind of see where that's going to go. And remembering back maybe where Gemini was just a few years ago, kind of see how far it's come. We're living definitely in a revolution in game dev accessibility here. I can't afford that $200 to $300 a month for that pro version. And I know I can hear them coming in now like, well, Dr. Fox, we can't like integrate all the other parts that make up that whole game. I get it, but what I'm saying is like, it's another piece. Like as we saw AI coming through, how it'd be piece by piece, and now we've got integrations of those pieces, if you follow my meaning. Maybe in a few years it can fully generate these really like elaborate games, because like right now we can do a lot of them in like C++ or Python, or have them help you with like Unity and things like that, and then it will get it's kind of be fascinating just as a game developer, but also a gamer, to kind of see and what these amazing indie people are gonna create. Because I've always been fascinated over the few years when like, oh, it's taken them a couple years and this amazing big thing, and maybe now like someone can make that in like a couple weeks or a couple months, and then obviously you still got to work out the security and issues behind that. But it's pretty fascinating kind of where that goes, and I know some would contradict to that, and they'd be like shaming someone for saying it that way. Just be careful about the info that you share publicly. You want to be transparent about other devs learning, but also trying to protect yourself from people who want to misuse your information. That's why I try to be cautious about, oh, I upgraded this, but I'm like, oh, now do I got to worry that somebody's gonna hack my account and then use that about that kind of circumstance. You're like, ooh, so but for those that wondering, I've already deleted my credit card and turned off the option. So, but I know that they can still try to take the account. We try to put that extra authentication on there, but we know things happen. And then I'm like not trying to sit here trying to give people ideas. But this week's goals, we're gonna try to polish the games now that we've got that upgraded, bug fixes, features, all the things. Just a shout out to you, Spot. Yes, especially Pi. Yes, implementing all the community feedback on those games. We're gonna try to upgrade those. Continue Google Play submission process. Working on towards a Steam relief as like a trilogy is what we're hoping to do after we've polished through the 3 games better. Not immediately, just this is like what we're hoping to work on. Cross-game, unlock codes, updates happening when we're ready, quality over arbitrary schedules, learning from sort of WoW's Patch Tuesday model, but for me, it'll be more organically. It'd be kind of neat if sort of Tuesdays become your update day, if that day happens to work for us for being off, but that's like a bigger conglomerate. More for me, like I said, it's going to be more quality over quantity. It's going to be, when I get that information, okay, can the tool help me tweak this? Do I have a day off to work on it? And then, okay, it'll come out that same day. And you'll see that, like you've seen, if any of you are following my games, you'll see like sometimes I'll get an update out on a Thursday or a Saturday or a Sunday or just any day of the week when I can work on it, Just try not to like set actual deadlines right now anyway. Future projects, we really want to work on more of the Mora puzzle type games that we've been talking about. We've been discussing some other puzzle ideas and games that I've had in the back of my mind. I've got you should see my notebook. I got like a whole list of games, and maybe someday way down here after all these awesome games I have a few other bigger projects. I'm like, I don't know if this could be accomplished. I mean, let's just hope the world doesn't end tomorrow. We know there's a controversy on that. There's the real things happening, things like that, but let's hope we can still wake up and keep trying to create instead of, oh no, it's survival mode again, because that's what I felt like I've been in here for so long, with survival mode, especially when you're just trying to like stay warm, and doing the best you can. But we're hoping for that. We're hoping to work on more of the Lunar AI. We put up a post on Lunar's YouTube channel recently about all the new enhancements we've been working on. That I try to take like a day to just do that for fun, and then I check out the comments when I get time, and then I'll put together my notes about what to work on with it, and then I talk to Claude about it. That's kind of my process. And then like, let's try to work on this, and then I'll try to do some programming when I can. Like it just gets hard, so sometimes I need a little extra help. I just can't afford to pay extras, but that's the only reason we ever ask that. I don't want to sound like the begathon. And maybe some can make a career out of it, and make a little bit here and there on the side, or sort of a side hustle. I'm not out to do that. I'm just doing it because I enjoy it, but it really ruins it when you get these miserable human beings. They're like, oh good, she'll stop making them, she'll be burnt out, she'll get exhausted, we'll keep it up and push her to the limit. No, you're not gonna do that. I like to just work on these for enjoyment. I'm not trying to get out there to make a huge ton of money. I do it because of the entertainment value and for the fun of joy of what we're trying to bring to life with Miss Mora. And she's brought me a lot of love. I'm trying to bring some love back and joy. I don't know why people have to keep getting all attitude and have all these big problems. I know our show is going on. It's just a really long one. There's a lot to hit today. But our final call to action, why don't we all try to play all the 3 more universe games? The links are below. Join Discord to share your feedback, and fan art support on Patreon if you want. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm begging. Let me know, how do you handle online negativity, and we will see you next week. See you later.